The broken ladder. Why Black women aren't losing ambition? They're getting wiser. Good evening, beautiful souls. I want to start tonight by introducing you to someone who is doing sacred work in this world. Her name is Bridgette Stephens, and she is a force. She is a visionary, a healer, a truth teller, and a guide for Black women who are tired of carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders. Bridgette is helping women step into what she calls the soft girl era, a movement that is not about aesthetics or trends, but about reclaiming rest, redefining strength, and choosing peace over performance. She is making the world a better place by giving high achieving Black women permission to exhale, to set boundaries without guilt, and to build lives that feel good to live in. I had the honor of sitting down with Bridgette Stephens, and what she shared with me shook me to my core. Tonight, I want to share those insights with you. Let me ask you something. When you hear the phrase like Black women are losing their ambition, what comes to mind? Maybe you think of burnout. Maybe you think of exhaustion. Maybe you even think, yeah, I get it. I'm tired too. But here's the thing, that narrative, it's a lie. Black women are not less ambitious. They are more realistic about the broken leadership ladder they've been asked to climb. And that realism, that clarity, is not a loss, it is a reckoning. It is wisdom wrapped in exhaustion. It is the sound of a woman finally saying, enough. The data tells us that women still want promotions nearly as much as men do. 80% of women say they want to advance compared to 86% of men. That's not a massive gap. That's not apathy. That's not women giving up on their dreams. But here's where it gets complicated. Here's where the story shifts from ambition to survival. For every 100 men promoted to manager, only 74 women of color are promoted. 74. Let that sink in for a moment. That's the broken rung. That's the place where ambition meets reality and realize the ladder was never built for her in the first place. It was built to keep her climbing, exhausted, underpaid, and overlooked. And it gets worse. Black women are facing unemployment rates over 7.5%. They are earning 66 cents for every dollar a white man earns. 66 cents. They are losing jobs at alarming rates. Over 300,000 jobs lost since February of this year alone. And when they do make it to senior leadership, when they finally reach that rung they've been climbing toward their entire careers, 70% of them report feeling burned out. 70%. So when we say Black women are losing their ambition, what we're really saying is this: they are refusing to keep climbing a ladder that was designed to exhaust them, underpay them, and overlook them. And that refusal, that is not defeat. That is not weakness. That is wisdom. That is self preservation. That is a woman choosing her peace over someone else's profit. Bridgette Stephens understands this deeply. She shared with me a truth that I want you to hold close, a truth that changed the trajectory of her entire life. She told me about her accident, the one that resulted in a disability, and how it forced her to redefine strength in a way she never imagined. Before that moment, she was deeply identified with pushing through, holding everything together, measuring her worth by how much she could carry. Rest felt optional. Pausing felt irresponsible. She had learned how to endure long before she learned how to listen. Sound familiar? But the accident made it impossible to ignore her body. It required her to confront limits she had spent years overriding. At first, that loss of control was frightening. It challenged her sense of independence and forced her to reckon with vulnerability in a very real way. She felt exposed. She felt afraid. She felt like she was losing herself. But over time, something else happened. The accident became a teacher. It showed her that her body was not betraying her, it was communicating with her. It was asking her to build a different relationship with herself, one rooted in care instead of control. She had to redefine strength not as endurance at all costs, but as the willingness to honor what her body needed in each moment. This shift rippled into every area of her life. She began to release the belief that productivity equals value. She stopped equating exhaustion with success. She learned that softness is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Choosing rest, setting boundaries, and allowing herself grace became acts of survival and eventually acts of self respect. Living with a disability deepened her compassion, not just for others, but for herself. It made her more intentional, more present, and more honest about what sustainability really looks like. She no longer strives to return to who she was before the accident. She is focused on becoming someone more whole, more attuned, and more at ease. Her triumph is not in overcoming her body, but in partnering with it. And that, my friends, is the heart of the soft girl era. It is not about giving up. It is about waking up. It is about recognizing that the game was rigged. And instead of playing harder, you build your own table. You set your own rules. You define your own success. Let me share three stories with you. Three Black women who embodied this truth and built empires on their own terms, who refused to let a broken system define their worth. First, Tracy Gilchrist. Tracy was a Black media executive who rose through the ranks at Variety in The Hollywood Reporter. She was ambitious, she was talented, she was everything the industry said it wanted. But she kept hitting that broken rung. She faced promotion barriers, she faced exhaustion. She watched less qualified people leap over her. She faced the reality that no matter how hard she worked, the system was not designed to let her win. So she did something radical. She embraced softness. She set boundaries. She prioritized rest. And she launched her own consultancy with flexible, body honoring schedules. She achieved work life harmony. She scaled her business without the C suite burnout. She grew her consultancy to serve major studios. She authored leadership guides on softness. And she inspired Black women in media to reject grind culture and build something sustainable, something that honored their humanity. Tracy didn't lose her ambition. She redirected it towards something that actually valued her. Then there's Melody Hobson. Melody is a Black finance titan, the president of DreamWorks, and the co CEO of Ariel Investments. She navigated Wall Street's ladders while enduring pay gaps and underrepresentation. Only 7% of C suite executives are women of color. 7%. And the burnout risks in high stakes finance, they are astronomical. But Melody redefined strength. She practiced intentional pauses. She shared her vulnerability. She set boundaries. She partnered with what Bridgette Stephens would call her inner soft girl, and she sustained top performance without exhaustion. She grew Ariel Investments to over $20 billion in assets under management. She became the first Black woman on the Starbucks board, and she proved that softness scales empires. Melody didn't sacrifice her peace for success. She built success on the foundation of her peace. And finally, Ursula Burns. Ursula was the trailblazing Black CEO of Xerox from 2009 to 2016. She broke the ultimate broken rung. She became the first Black woman to lead a Fortune 500 company. But she battled scrutiny. She battled insecurity. 81% of new leaders report feeling insecure. And for Black women, that number is even higher. She battled wage inequities. She battled a system that questioned her every move. But Ursula integrated softness. She practiced rest rituals. She practiced grace. And when she transitioned out of the CEO role, she moved into advisory roles that honored her pace. She avoided post CEO burnout. She built a legacy of balanced power. She doubled Xerox's revenue. She launched the Retta Foundation for underserved entrepreneurs. And she reshaped corporate views on what Black women leaders can be. Ursula didn't climb the ladder to prove she belonged. She climbed it, then built her own staircase. These women did not lose their ambition, they redirected it. They refused to keep climbing a ladder that was designed to break them, and they built their own. So, what does this mean for you? What does this mean for the Black woman listening right now who is tired, who is burned out, who is wondering if she's enough? It means three things. First, redefine ambition through softness. True leadership sustainability comes from honoring limits, not overriding them. Black women can lead without burnout by embracing rest as a power move. Rest is not laziness, rest is strategy. Rest is how you sustain excellence without sacrificing yourself. Rest is how you build something that lasts. Second, the ladder is broken, so build your own. With promotion gaps and job losses and pay inequities, the corporate ladder is not a safe bet, but entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is where softness fuels innovation over corporate exhaustion. Entrepreneurship is where you set the rules. Entrepreneurship is where you win on your own terms. And if you're not ready to leave your job yet, that's okay. Start building your table on the side. Start setting boundaries where you are. Start honoring your limits as a revolutionary act. And third, vulnerability is your competitive edge. Partnering with your body's wisdom, like Bridgette Stephens did after her accident, builds resilience, compassion, and presence that corporate grind ignores. It empowers Black professionals to thrive holistically. It turns limitation into wholeness. It transforms exhaustion into clarity. This is not about giving up on ambition. This is about reclaiming it. This is about refusing to let a broken system define your worth. This is about building a life that feels good to live in, not just one that looks good on paper. Bridgette Stephens taught me that softness is not aesthetic. It is embodied, it is strategic, it is how you continue to choose yourself, your health, and your peace without apology. It is how you survive in a world that profits from your exhaustion. So here's my question for you. What if your greatest leadership strength isn't pushing harder, but pausing to partner with your body's wisdom? What if the most ambitious thing you could do right now is rest? What if choosing yourself is the revolution? Because here's the truth: the world taught you survival, but you were made for so much more than that. You were made for softness, you were made for joy, you were made for rest, you were made for peace. You were made to build empires that don't require you to sacrifice your soul. And the soft girl era, it's not a trend, it's a lifestyle rebellion. It's a deep exhale from the Superwoman script. It's a quiet but powerful return to softness, rest, self trust, and radical joy. Black women are not losing their ambition, they are redirecting it towards something that actually honors them. And that, my friends, as Jason, is the most ambitious thing you can do. So I'm going to leave you with a challenge. This week, I want you to audit one boundary, just one. Choose rest over hustle. Track how it fuels your next bold move. Watch softness build your unbreakable empire. And if you need permission, here it is. I give you permission to rest. I give you permission to say no. I give you permission to choose yourself without guilt, without apology, without explanation. The ladder was never built for you. So stop climbing it. Build your own. And when you do, build it with softness, with intention, with joy. Build it so strong that the next generation of Black women can climb it without breaking themselves. That is your work. That is your revolution. That is your soft girl era. Now go build it,